my big red button. Okay, guys, we are now recording. So, today is ellipses.
We're doing a different conic every day.
We're doing a different conic every day for the next 3 days. Record them all, and it's going to be a review. Today is ellipses. Now, we talked yesterday about the role of the focus in an ellipse. We talked about the origin of all the conics in the intersection of planes and cones. So today is just the meat and bones of what René Descartes did to take all that knowledge of the ancient Greeks and make it so that you didn't have to be a brilliant ancient Greek to actually apply it or graph it.
I can't.
If an ellipse is centered at the origin, if an ellipse is centered at the origin, then x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equals 1 will graph that ellipse.
If we have our notes from last year, do we need to take notes for the next 3 days?
I will leave that up to you. This will be available as a backup resource, but you got to know everything I say. You can bring in your notes tomorrow and compare. X squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equals 1 gives you all the information you need to know about an ellipse centered at the origin. It is a couple things. For it to be an ellipse, this must be plus. Okay? Everything has to be positive, but I hope it's a little obvious that if you square it, a number, it will be positive. And this has to equal positive 1. Cannot be negative 1. Cannot be any other number. Becca, I know you're seeing this for the first time, actually, so I got to remember that. If I go to the Cartesian coordinate plane, I'll be centered at the origin. In the x direction, I'll go out a units. In the y direction, I will go up or down b units. In the negative x direction, I'll go negative a. In the negative y direction, I'll go negative to negative b. And if I connect these points in an oval shape, I will get a Stewie from Family Guy.
As opposed to Stewie from somewhere else.
As opposed to Stewie from somewhere else. That part's fairly simple. I don't know how much time you guys spent on the Foci last year, if at all.
We did.
A while.
A while?
Not a
really.
like.
Wait, are they supposed to be like we know equal to each other, like their length?
Yes, that's all supposed to be symmetrical.
So it should be a circle.
No, I'm sorry. A and A should be equal to each other. B and negative B should be equal to each other. Should not be a circle.
Do you want us to make them like longer?
Yes, A should be further out than B. Or vice versa. Either one's fine. I didn't say which was bigger, A or B.
You dropped the eraser.
I'm sure I did. Thank you. If A is bigger than B, then
You got a
A
Stewie.
is the major axis,
Or a Stewie.
and you get a Stewie. If B, what does ib mean?
That's not a word.
Mr. Bellefoe.
If B is greater than A, then B is the major axis, and you get something sort of like an egg, though eggs are not perfect ellipses.
Yeah, it was a potato.
You get a
Yeah.
potato. Potato's good.
And
because every
potatoes are
potato
better
is
ellipses.
perfectly elliptical, yes.
A tomato.
Yes.
So, the first
Tomato.
one is a stewie and the second one's an egg.
Tomato.
Yes. So this could be a Stewie. This second one would be an egg, where B is greater.
Potato.
Potato's fine. Potato, egg.
Football head.
Football head.
Arnold.
Okay. So
Can we keep on
You're
going?
right, Kip.
yes,
Okay.
the next thing is
You're a bold kid, Arnold.
the foci. Okay? The next situation you'll deal with is where are the foci of this thing. And the way you find this one is very similar to something that you've seen before. The foci will be C units from the origin, okay, where c squared is equal to a squared minus b squared. If it is a Stewie, and c squared equals b squared minus a squared if it is an egg or potato or football head or Arnold.
So the
Yes.
C is kind of like amplitude?
Actually, it's more like the hypotenuse. For me, this always reminds me of the Pythagorean theorem.
Yeah, obviously.
And when we get to hyperbolas, we'll compare and contrast why this one is, because their hyperbolas will have something similar for it.
And this is the unit from the origin. So
Yes. So your foci are going to be here at negative c and c.
And
What-
if it's an egg, it's up and down from the origin?
Correct. If it's an egg, this is for a Stewie. If you have an egg shape,
I don't get it. They're the same.
well, no, if you have an egg shape, it'll look like this.
I know it's in them. Yeah, they're switched.
This will still be calling this a and negative a. We'll still call this b and negative b. But now, c and negative c will be along the y-axis, center of the origin.
Ooh.
So what you get here is a couple of things. There's some general principles, which if you remember will help you remember which situation you're in. First general principle. The foci are always along the major axis.
Yeah.
They're always along whichever one is longer. Second principle, the foci are always inside the ellipse. So if you're working through the algebra and you get answers that seem to suggest that C is not along the major axis or C is outside the ellipse, you have made a mistake somewhere. Okay?
I used to hate that.
Yeah. So that is an ellipse centered at the origin. I'll do an example of one over here. I'll make it fairly simple. I'll try to anyway. Okay. So if I say x squared over 25 plus y squared over 9
Wait, wouldn't
equals
it
1.
be opposite? When you have 25 over x? Oh, never mind.
Nope, I wouldn't. X and y are still your variables. They're your
So
infinite
this is a
possibilities
Stewie?
that describe all the points. This is a Stewie. The larger numbers under the x, it will be wider rather than tall.
But we're just graphing for the time being.
Yeah, we're just graphing. So a squared equals 25, which tells me a is 5. B squared equals 9, which tells me that b is 3. Very good. So a is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this direction. Then I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 5 in this direction. 1, 2, 3 up. Negative 3 down. There's my Stewie. It even kind of looks kind of like a zombie Stewie with the stitches.
Looks more like a football.
Does look more like a football, actually.
Oh,
Now then, for the foci, I have my c squared equals, in this case, a squared minus b squared. If the 25 were here,
So it's 2.
is it? C squared equals 25.
No, it's
minus
A squared
9.
minus B squared.
So c squared is 16, so what's c?
4.
4. Positive 4. Here's one foci. Negative 4. Here's the other foci. So if you're asked where they are, you would say the first foci is at 4, 0. The second foci is at negative 4, 0. Incidentally, the Earth is in an elliptical orbit around the Sun, not a circular orbit, and the Sun is at one of the foci of the ellipse.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now it's actually so close to circular that like the center of the Sun is one foci, and the other foci is like inside the Sun, almost next to it.
Wait, what? For the Earth?
Yeah.
For the Earth's ellipse?
The Earth is in an elliptical orbit, and the center of the Sun is at one foci, and I believe the foci are so close out together that like the other foci is inside the Sun.
Did you know?
Pretty close to circular.
So wait, but so the more round, the more circular an ellipse is, the closer the foci are together.
Yes, and what happens when the foci meet?
It's a circle.
It's a circle. Yep.
Okay.
So that's one way to look at it. Is as the foci get closer and closer together, you're going to get closer to a circle.
So-
and when they meet, you've got a circle.
5.
And I picked 3, 4, 5 because I wanted the math to be easy on the first one.
So does that mean the